Why is that so frightening to men? What drives them to such great lengths to delay it, or even avoid it entirely? Are they scared of losing their possessions, or being separated from their loved ones? Or was it because death seemed like an impending doom, which was beyond their control, and all they could do was wait until it claimed them? I'm sure that all of these things might have played a part in this fear, though there is one other reason that troubled men the most and kept them up at night: the fear of the unknown. Hey guys, it's Carl here, and in today's episode, we'll be exploring the afterlives of Hobbits and Men. So Hobbits and Men shared the same afterlife, since Hobbits were a branch of the race of men, and even though they were so different in character and stature, the same fate awaited them after death. Now the afterlife of men is extremely mysterious, which is why it was so frightening for them, for after they died, their spirits were summoned to the halls of Mandos, and they stayed there for a short while, in a hall that was separate to that of the elves, before their spirits left the world of Arda to some unknown location. Only 3 beings knew where these spirits were summoned to, and these were LOTR, the god of Arda, and the Valar Mandos and Manwë. Now the fate of men to die and leave the world of Arda might seem like an unpleasant end, but it was actually the gift of men, for the spirits of men weren't bound to Arda, and they could operate beyond the music of the Ainur, which was fate itself. All of the other beings of Arda, including the Valar, were bound to this world and to this music, which is why this was quite an incredible gift for men. We also know that towards the end of Arda, the elves and even the Valar would start to grow tired of time, and they would begin to envy men who were free from this fate. Men would still have a part to play after the end of Arda, for they would take part in the second music of the Ainur, while it's uncertain if the elves would have any role in this music, for elven spirits were bound to Arda, and we don't know if they would still exist after its end, and the LOTR never revealed what part they might play in the second music, if any at all. Now despite this incredible gift, Morgoth found a way to corrupt it in the eyes of men, and he whispered lies to them, and death began to seem like a curse. Humans would have trouble accepting their death, and some of them believed that men had once been immortal before they lost this gift to the malice of Morgoth. Death was no longer the sweet release from weakness to a new journey that lay ahead, but it now seemed like something horrible that should be avoided at all costs. It's also interesting to note that humans had the ability to choose to die willingly and pass into the afterlife, and some men that weren't afraid of death, such as the early Númenóreans and Aragorn, would die willingly, without struggling or trying to cling on to life until their final moments. This was actually a clear sign of wisdom, for it showed that these men appreciated the gift of mortality, and they knew that it wasn't something that they should be afraid of. Now it seems that the spirits of men could delay their passing into the halls of Mandos, for after Berin's death, he chose to wait for his lover Lúthien in these halls, and he was not ready to leave this world. Lúthien would die soon after, and she begged Mandos to allow Beren to return to life, though this was not Mandos' choice to make, for he couldn't deny men their gift. And so Mandos spoke to Manwë, who consulted the LOTR, and the LOTR gave his blessing to Beren and Lúthien, and he allowed them to be brought back to life, though both of them would now be bound to the fate of men. It is also said that a hero of men, called Túrin, would return to Arda and Dagor Dagorath, which was the apocalypse of Arda, for he was destined to slay Morgoth. Now it seems that certain things could prevent the spirits of men from being summoned to the halls of Mandos, and one such case was the fate of the Oathbreakers, who were punished with undeath for breaking their oath to Isildur. I imagine that for something like this to happen, Ilúvatar must be involved somehow, and so perhaps the oath was sworn upon his name, which is why it was so binding, and why it could get in the way of the gift of men. There are also some other curious examples, such as the Barrow-wights, who were possessed by spirits, and there are some hints that seem to suggest that these spirits had once belonged to the men of Arnor. If you'd like to learn more about these mysterious creatures, make sure you check out my video, which I'll be linking above. There's actually a fascinating concept that can be found in one of Tolkien's writings called Atrabet Finrod Hundred, and it states that since men could die of natural causes and against their will, then their spirits or Fea must have a different relation to time than that of the elves. This is why the elves believe that after men died, their spirits left time and never returned. If this is true, then we can get a good idea of where the spirits of men might have been summoned to. For Ilúvatar lived in the Timeless Halls, an area beyond the universe and beyond time itself, and so perhaps the spirits of men were summoned to these halls to live besides Ilúvatar. I think the gift of men and the way they saw death is also quite relevant to the real world, for I think that mortality and the fact that we know our life is on a ticking clock makes everything much more precious. When you have a limited time to do things, you have to pick what stands out the most, and they become much more significant. I like to compare it to a person that has a collection. Immortality would give you all the time in the world to complete your set, but I think the emotions and experience would be so much less intense than a person with a limited amount of time. For that time limit would drive us to try and complete as much as we can of this collection, and since we know that we'll never really be able to complete it, every single piece that we add to it will stand out as a memorable and precious experience. Anyway friends, this wraps up today's video and I hope you enjoyed it. Do you think that man's mortality was a gift? Or would you rather be immortal like the elves? And where do you think the spirits of men were summoned to after their time in the halls of Mandos? For those of you who may be interested, this video is part of a set in which I discussed the various afterlives of the races of Arda, such as that of the Elves, Orcs, Dwarves and Ents. I've still got a few left to cover and I'm quite excited to complete it. Though in the meantime, feel free to check out these other videos if they interest you. I'll be leaving links to them as a pinned comment below and as cards throughout my video. I'd be really interested in hearing your thoughts on these afterlives. Which one do you think is most interesting or sounds nicest? So feel free to share your thoughts also. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons who have really helped to elevate this channel. It wouldn't be the same without you. And I would like to express how grateful I am for your support, especially our Wizard-Tier Patrons, T-Gorman, Mike Feeney, Roland Myrvold, and Jacob Williams. If you too would like to help support this channel while unlocking some cool perks, I'll be leaving a link to my Patreon page in the video description below. I'll also be leaving links to our Instagram, Facebook, Discord, and Twitter communities, so follow us if you'd like to have some extra Lord of the Rings content in your day-to-day lives. As always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to join our fellowship today. I hope to see you all in my next video, where together we'll once again explore the magical world and lore of Middle-earth.